A camp for queer kids, what can possibly go wrong? All these people in this camp probably hate capitalism, yet this camp is making thousands of dollars off each of these kids for just not knowing who they are.
Very lucrative business, teaching kids about pronouns and literally hugging trees.
With creative programming, gender-neutral housing, and affirming spaces to be your true self. This isn't just a camp, it's a community-led leadership experience. Dive into passion projects, build new skills, and make lifelong friends.
The gender neutral housing, because this is for kids 12 to 17. Brad, can we remind the people that are watching us what like the average age is for puberty?
12, 13.
12 through 17.
But I guess if it was single gender, that wouldn't help so much at a queer camp.
I guess it would. It actually.
At Brave Trails, we believe every LGBTQ plus young person deserves access to community, which is why we provide over $100,000 worth of financial aid each year.
I'm still not over them literally circling and hugging a tree. And my first thought was, why do all the members of the unicorn staff, the employees, all look exactly like what you would have guessed they look like? Before we get into all the details, would you send your kid to this camp?
No, I didn't really think about it. Like, have you ever seen the movie American Pie? So this is their version of band camp. In the movie, band camp was for like the nerds, but they were all like sexually charged nerds, right? Camp Brave Trails is now like for queer kids. Like I wouldn't put it past them for still wanting to experiment with a flute or two, you know?
My concern is some of it looks like normal camp stuff and some of it looks fun. And of course, everyone deserves to have a nice summer and build community and all of that. But then there's like much more controversial stuff just kind of thrown in there, like drag. We're teaching the kids drag. This is an any pronoun space.
Now, would I send my kids to this camp? Absolutely not. But would I send them to MyHeritage to do a DNA test to figure out where their ancestors are from? Certainly. I actually got the test about a month ago. It's super easy. You just do the cheek swab, put it in this little container, and send it out to their lab for testing. And now we wait. The results are in. I'm just kidding. I filmed this all on the same day, of course. But yeah, I did send this out about a month ago. Growing up, by the way, I've been told that I'm Italian and German and like a hint of French. So I'm just curious to see what I actually am. Okay, what the hell? I'm not as Italian as I thought. And apparently I'm 2% Greek, 2.8% Albanian, and 2.3% Balkan. I have to look that up. I don't even know where that is. By the way, MyHeritage has committed in its privacy policy to never sell or license any of your genetic data. When you go on their site, it shows you all of your genetic breakdown across 42 supported ethnicities and over 2,000 geographic regions. It also shows who you are related to if they have also signed up for the platform. My favorite part, ancient origins. Apparently, I am 2.2 of a genetic fit with ancient Egyptians. No wonder. I love cats so much. Click the link in the description below and use coupon code Arielle for a 10% discount off your DNA kit. As an added bonus, you can start a 30-day free trial of MyHeritage's best subscription for family research. Make sure you go and support companies that support our morals and this channel.
It won't shock people to learn that like this did not go over well on Twitter. Senator Mike Lee entered the chat, interestingly. What could go wrong?
I said this is child abuse. Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't go that far.
I feel like a lot of these are going overboard. I don't think it's child abuse.
That's a pretty bright red line for me that something has to meet to be child abuse. Something could be bad parenting. It could be something I wouldn't personally do, but I don't want to call it child abuse because then you're putting it on the same stage as some pretty dark stuff.
Mike actually had my favorite comment. I'd rather go to fat camp.
More about this camp. Brave Trails is a fully accredited overnight camp designed for LGBTQ plus teens aged 12 through 17 with a focus on leadership development. Our mission is to create a supportive space where campers can connect with like-minded peers, explore their identities, and pursue their passions. With locations in California, New York, and Georgia, we welcome campers from all over the country. Kind of surprised to see Georgia on that list.
That's also surprising. What surprises me even more is they say that we focus on leadership development. Curious if somebody showed up with a Make America Great Again hat, if it was a rainbow one, like I have it in my closet right there, would these people be okay with that? Because that would be a real leader, right?
The whole camp would melt down. They'd call a red alarm.
Would there be a
code red?
Because that's what real leadership is, right? It's acknowledging that people can have different feelings, different thoughts, and different beliefs, but still stand based on your own morals and merit, I should say, and be okay with other people thinking and just being different. Like I don't get that vibe from this.
No. Imagine how dramatic teenagers already are. Now
Oh my
imagine that this is the pronoun crowd, and think of all the like drama over, well, Sherry came in and did a microaggression during craft time and all the chaos that could ensue in such a woke environment like this when it's already so full of drama. It makes my head explode just even thinking about everything that could go wrong. And the people that are working here are interesting. Not the sports being like them picking up cones or something. It
I was
wasn't
literally thinking the same
football.
thing. My first thought, right, when I was watching it, I was like, okay, all the girls, all the dykes are going to win the sports competition. It's not even going to be fair.
But some of this seems like normal stuff and
Some of
like
it.
fun camp stuff. But
Yeah.
then like the drag workshop, I wouldn't want my 12-year-old doing drag. Now, I will be clear that drag is not always sexual, right? Drag sometimes just means makeup and clothing associated with the other sex. It's a certain style of makeup. It's not always like strip shows, though sometimes it is. I really don't like how they raise the different crazy woke flags every day and then they have the Hall of Elders. I'd be more worried about my kid being brainwashed at a camp like this with woke nonsense.
I can't lie, like not the majority, but I'd say like half of the stuff that they're doing, like the typical camp shit, like the puppetry, even though I think it's ridiculous to teach somebody how to do puppetry. You want to spend your money on that with your kid? Fine, do it. If you want to do drag, it's considered an art form. To me, it's just like theater camp. It would be fine for me. But like, you have to remember, I'm a crazy art school student. Like, I went to college and studied art. Like, I actually went to school with people like this. They were just called emo kids back in the day. Like, they weren't called queer. But like the raising the flag of a different, like, you're saluting in solidarity to the oppressed. Like, I don't know, just the whole.
What if they do the pledge of queer allegiance every day?
I mean, maybe they probably do, honestly. They probably came up. I mean, you know how they're always singing in these TikTok videos, like horrible singing? They probably created their own national anthem.
So this camp apparently offers therapy, and I want to show you this and see what you notice. So it says Queer Affirming Therapy, a mental health program by Brave Trails designed to meet the unique needs of LGBTQ youth and caregivers. We connect LGBTQ youth and families with clinicians who are participating in our clinical training program. Now we scroll through the list of these therapy providers. See if you notice anything about every single one of them.
First of all, they all have they pronouns.
Every single one has they pronouns.
But only one of them is actually going like full force with it. The rest of them look like spicy straights or people that are just basic gays, but that's not enough these days. So they have to like put a /they in their pronoun.
Never send my child to any sort of medical professional with they pronouns in bio. Instant red flag that they are pseudoscientific and can't be trusted as an expert.
Most of the people that work for these, not the counselors, but most of the people that are working for these organizations, they all have weird names like River. Did you notice that? They all
have trans names, yeah.
Another thing that I find annoying about this is they're teaching kids incorrect history. One of the first things I see on their Instagram is celebrating trans history by honoring Black trans femmes. This person in the photo is, what was the name? Marsha
P. Johnson, right?
Marsha P. Johnson. That person is a gay man, or was a gay man. I think they passed away. I don't remember. They might still be alive. I have a video with my friend Fred Sargent, who was quite literally at the first ever LGBT or gay pride march in New York in 1969. This person was also there. This person is on video saying that they are a gay man and a drag queen, not a trans woman. So not only are you misgendering somebody or dead naming somebody, you're incorrectly teaching kids Black trans femmes are at the heart of our history and future. Like, no, that's not correct. That's not how any of this started. It started with a bunch of white gay men, which it is what it is, whether it's good or not. That's what happened. There was a bunch of lesbians that came in. Then the bisexuals and trans people came later on with the truth.
Black trans women started gay rights, or Stonewall was started by Black trans women. That whole thing is a myth. They always say Marsha P. Johnson threw the first brick at Stonewall.
That's
not
lie.
True. But they're teaching this kind of thing to kids, so that's great. And you also found their Instagram post about Lesbian Visibility Week, right?
Lesbian Visibility Week. It was 2 weeks ago, mind you. And of course, like clockwork, who's the first type of person that they mention in their post? Lesbians who are trans. Because they can't go...
It's literally first.
They can't go a day without putting trans and non-binary people, like first, the apex. They have to be, because they're the most oppressed. They got to be at the top. I'm surprised it didn't say like black, trans, disabled, non-binary, queer, polyamorous, lesbians. It's got to be like the peak of intersectionality all the time. Like, I'm so tired of it.
And they're pushing nonsense. They're pushing non-binary lesbian as part of this lesbian visibility, but that literally means if you're non-binary, it means you don't identify as a woman, so you can't be a lesbian, a woman who loves women. The whole thing's incoherent, and yet these kids are being trusted to mold kids' minds. That's the part of it I really take issue with. That they are clearly beholden to a radical ideology, and I don't want that passed on to impressionable minds.
Also, how much do you think this camp costs? Because listen, I grew up in New York City in the early 90s and the mid 90s. My mom and dad's version, by the way, of camp was go outside and play in traffic. Not literally. Like, they would joke about that because when we would annoy them, they would go outside, play in traffic.
So I looked it up. This costs $2,500 for the 9-day program and like $1,500 for the 6-day program. So this is, let's be clear, for like bougie middle class people's kids. Although to be fair to them, they do have a scholarship program that they allow some people to go for lower or no cost, which I think is great. A lot of camps do that, but that's good, I guess. But whoever's running this may be making a pretty penny with this, which wouldn't shock me. I mean, but that is how all these camps work, at least the for-profit ones. So they're not unique in that.
This is my point, right? But I guarantee you, they're teaching these kids in these camps to be anti-capitalist. Right? We already know it. Like,
probably.
And they're running around, they're dyeing their hair these crazy colors, complaining about pronouns, being anti-capitalist, all while giving their money to this camp, who essentially is it's glorified babysitting in a way, if we're being real.
That's most camps, but yeah.
Most camps, right, which is fine, like an upper middle class thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know anyone in my neighborhood growing up that went to camp. Nobody went to Girl Scouts. If they did, the Girl Scouts was in the basement of the church. Mm-hmm. In my neighborhood, and it was free. Like, it was funded by the church, which was funded by the community, you know what I mean? But like, I
went to day camps and stuff, but not expensive, long weeks away bougie camps.
Overnight, right? What does that wind up being? 2,500 divided by 9 is what? 200-300 a day? A little less.
It's just under 300 a day.
300 a day is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
But you got to pay for all the they them pronoun pins somehow.
They're essentially paying people to validate their kids. Mm-hmm. If your kid's angry with you, you just send them away to camp and be like, here, you handle their bullshit. Let them validate you. Maybe when they come back, they'll hate me less.
My concern with this,
I actually think they'll hate their parents more when they come back.
They will send vulnerable teenagers who are confused about their bodies, who already hate their bodies, feel like that's a very awkward and uncomfortable time. They'll send them to this camp, and these young adults who are running it, who are, full in on the non-binary transgender ideology, will introduce them to the idea that they might be a they them, or they might be trans, and they'll make it seem cool and trendy. And all of a sudden, these young people will come back wanting hormones or puberty blockers or surgeries or other things that can't be reversed and that people that young shouldn't be getting.
Yeah, they're surrounded by other people who believe the exact same thing. You are in a literal echo chamber for 9 straight days or 9 gay days without anyone on the outside being able to tell you, you know what, maybe that's not what you are.
And teenagers love social trends and fads. With any other thing, with, for example, something like an eating disorder, we all know that if you put a bunch of teenage girls in a camp where a lot of them have this, it would spread and become a trend. But somehow we're supposed to believe gender ideology is totally different, and none of those dynamics are ever at play.
I went to Tucson, Arizona a few years ago, and I filmed with a therapist. I'll link that video below. She was specializing at the time working with 14 to 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. And she said that every single one of these non-binary kids, all of their friends were trans and non-binary.
But the thing that never happens.
That never happens, though.
Never.
And this is in Tucson, Arizona. That's a small town. Like, it's gotten to that point, you know?
Now imagine California and New York where they're doing these camps. What could possibly go wrong? My verdict, it's your life, it's your kids. Parents can do what they want. I would never in a million years send my kids to this camp, and that's as a gay person myself.
The only way I would send my kid, if I had a kid, to a camp like this is if I knew for sure that there were people of varying beliefs and identities, not just a drag queen that was like pro-Palestine or all this stuff. It would have to be like maybe one of the camp counselors was just a regular butch lesbian that they wanted to coach the softball team. You know what I mean? Like regular butch lesbian. Maybe she did vote for Kamala, but she's not hell-bent on these pronouns and this leftist ideology.
And no flag being raised and no fake history.
No fake history. Like, it would need to be, I still probably wouldn't, because I wouldn't want them to be around any of these crazies. But at least you have kids that would be able to hopefully think for themselves, seeing different perspectives. We're not seeing this here. Guarantee you, when we post this video, we're gonna get a lot of shit from this place.
Maybe.
I already know that's gonna happen.
We'll get blocked. It's interesting how on Instagram they have to turn the comments off on every single one.
Did
of
they?
their
I didn't even know
videos.
that. Every single one of them is.
The ones I was looking at when we were preparing this, everyone had the comments turned off, and I'm like,
that says a lot too. They really
I think
are.
there could be a way to do a camp like this that would be not necessarily inappropriate and not that problematic. But I think in the era of gender ideology, doing that and keeping out all the ideological
Craziness.
Looney Tune stuff is just not possible.
Which is why we need videos and people like you and I doing this type of content to, unfortunately, do damage control, right? To show people out there that you can be gay. I won't say gay and normal, but that's kind of what we're calling the normal gay. Special thank you to My Heritage. Go and check them out. Links in the description below. Use code Arielle for 10% off your DNA kit. Use my link in the description below for a 30-day free trial. Go and support brands who support our message, our morals, and this channel.